As we've entered the new year and people are starting to work on their New Year's goals, I am closing one of mine down. In 2018, I sent this email stating my intention of starting a planner business. In February of 2020 is when we launched our very first product, which sold out, by the way. But by the middle of 2025, I had made the decision that I was going to close down MSTRPLN, at least the physical part of the company. Most people only talk about their businesses when they work, but this is a video of one that didn't. Not in a dramatic way, not because I didn't care or I didn't try. It just simply didn't work. And instead of just running past it, moving along too quickly, I wanted to talk about the things that it taught me. So if you're building something, questioning something, or wondering if the thing that you are still holding on to is still worth it, this video is for you. These are 10 things that I learned from a business that failed. The first thing that we need to talk about is having a good idea does not mean you will be a good business person. When people ask me why I decided to close down my company, specifically the physical side of my business, which is arguably like the most successful part of my company, I'm just honest with them. And it's because I was a bad business person. I honestly thought I would be a natural at it because for the past 10 years, I've been running my own business. I'm the CEO of my own brand. But running asiadang.com or youtube.com/asiadang is significantly different from running MSTRPLN.co. Like, it's not even close. Creativity and execution, different skills. Vision and operation, different skills. I was good at the idea part. I was good at executing a really good product part. And I actually think I was also a really good boss. But I wasn't strong at pricing. I wasn't strong at market forecasting, at systems, at customer acquisitions, at inventory management, or strategic discipline. Dare I say, those things are important at running a successful business. And even if your idea is the best idea in the world, if pricing is off, no one's going to buy your product. If you can't forecast sales, you're either going to buy too much of a product and have a ton of leftover, or you're going to sell out too quickly and you're going to have customers waiting, which might seem like a good thing, but it's not, because people can move on quickly. If you can't find a new customer, you will not grow. And if you don't understand how to set up systems to make your life easier, you're gonna burn out. A business doesn't fail because the idea is bad. To this day, I believe to my core that the MSTRPLN budget planner is the best budget planner out there on the market, full stop. I believe that truly, madly, deeply. But a company fails because the business around the best idea product in the world wasn't strong enough. I just simply don't have the abilities, nor do I care to be honest. I love being the idea person. I love executing the ideas. But I'm sharing this with you as point number one because I don't want to discourage you from starting a new business. I just want you to be prepared and to acknowledge that maybe after a few years, you may want to bring on someone to help if you are, like me, an idea person. By the time I realized that I was more of an idea person than a business person, I was just so burnt out and over it that I decided to move on versus spending the time trying to find a business partner. Number two is revenue can hide real problems. Revenue and profits are two different things. Revenue is the total amount of income that is generated by a product or service, and profit is the number that is left over once you pay all your expenses. MSTRPLN made money, it just didn't make enough of it. So one of the biggest things that I learned is revenue can be misleading. Money was coming in, we were selling out. I thought that meant the planner company was sustainable. But underneath that, the margins just simply weren't working. First of all, I wasn't paying myself at all in 5 years. For me, I thought, you know what, this is what a good CEO does. They put everything back into the business to make sure the business succeeds. But if you're running on 5 years without giving yourself money because your company needs it, that's a bad sign. I was also overextending on resources. And for me, I just thought, I'm going to figure it out eventually. It will one day just click. But it wasn't temporary. It was structural, because that eventually meant that I was always playing catch up. And the reason why I was always playing catch up, going back to point number 1, because my business acumen just wasn't there. If your business isn't strong enough at its core, it will simply not make enough money to grow. Now, obviously, don't expect to make a profit right out the gate, right? But there definitely should be an upward trend. For MasterPlan, we broke even, which was a win, but there was no upward trend. After that, we just simply plateaued. Revenue may create the illusion of stability, but profits is what matters. The MasterPlan Budget Planner has helped thousands of people get out of hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. And the MasterPlan Notion Wedding Template helped thousands of couples successfully plan for one of their biggest days. People liked the ideas, they loved the product, but we simply could not grow. And consistent willingness to pay and grow is what validates a company. Even to this day, MasterPlan has a really solid core group of budget lover believers. And when I made the announcement that I was closing down the physical portion of the planner company, many of you bought multiple planners just so you could have your favorite planner for the next few years. But unfortunately, I just simply was not able to grow past that original customer base. And if I was able to buy small amounts of planners at a time, I would still be selling MasterPlan budget planners. It would be a fun little hobby. But I had to buy thousands of planners at a time just to keep this product at $40. And with a stagnating customer base, that just was not feasible anymore. Now, there are a few reasons why I think that I was not able to grow my consumer base. And the first one being is I just didn't promote the company to its fullest extent. In fact, from a previous video I did talking about my concerns about MasterPlan, I had people explain to me that they completely forgot that I had a planner company because I just never talked about it enough. You always need to talk about your company. If you think it's too much, it's not. If you think you're annoying, so what? If there's an opportunity for you to be on a small business panel, do it. Don't have an elevator pitch for that one moment where you may come across a person who can help shift the trajectory of your company. Make it. Simply put, if you want to make your company more than a hobby, you have to promote. And I just did not do that. The other reason why I think we didn't grow as a company was because I cast too wide of a net in terms of making product. I love y'all. I just wanted you to be happy and to have a product that you loved. But I should not have continued to put out products just because a few people asked me to. Trying to be accessible to everyone made my business fragile because instead of focusing on promoting the products that were already successful, I spent more time building products that just ended up not doing that great. But if we're also being honest, that's kind of the stuff that I loved, right? I've mentioned this before. I love the idea, I love building the product, I love getting feedback. That was what I enjoyed. So I guess also because that's the one portion of the company or the business that I did enjoy, I just spent more time doing that instead of more time doing actually important things for the company. Because the truth is, no matter what your product is, someone will always have an opinion. For a planner, is it dated? Is it undated? Does the dated planner start on a Monday or does it start on a Sunday? Will you also one day have an academic planner? How about a content creation planner? How about a couples planner? Someone suggested that. I don't know what that would look like to this day, but I sure did try. Notion templates, cool, let's give those a try. But also again, the wedding planner ended up becoming super successful, so that worked out. How about a planner without the budget layouts? How about a planner with only the budget layouts? For someone who doesn't have a problem saying no in their personal lives, I sure had a problem saying no to making additional products. But again, that's because that was my favorite part of the company, but most of the time it just simply didn't make sense. Masterplan never got to the point of making enough money or expanding the customer base enough for me to have spent so much time building new products. We should have just stuck with our 3 best sellers: the physical budget planner, the undated physical planner, and then the wedding Notion template. And then promote those. And then once we made enough money with a little profit and we expanded our customer base, then and only then should I have started introducing new product. By the way, we still have, the undated planners available. They're just now in digital form. And all the digital products that we have, like the budget spreadsheet and the Notion wedding planner template, are all available. Again, we just got rid of the physical aspect of the company because that took the most work and needed the most business know-how, and to this day, still incapable. The next thing is burnout changes how you make decisions. Because I was trying to make so many products in my mind, at least at the time, in order to get more newer customers, on top of doing the daily admin work of running a business, it was a lot. And I didn't only lose energy and lose time and lose money, I lost clarity. A business that requires chronic burnout from you is already in trouble. When you're exhausted, when doing daily admin tasks is exhausting to you and annoying to you, your ability to think long term for the company is no longer there. I grew up in the time of the girl boss, right? Where everything had to happen stronger, faster, better, stronger. Burnout was good because it meant that you were working hard. I did everything except concentrating on my core audience and fostering that relationship. And I thought that I could play catch up, honestly, with the bigger company brands, the brands that could offer you multiple variations of a product. But I simply should not have done it because the core product was the best anyways. This was the only comprehensive budget planner on the market, and I just should have stuck with that. The next thing is, because I didn't have a clear grasp on business management, I invested in platforms, resources, and outside advice that I thought would help me and would unlock the next level for me. But you cannot outsource clarity. Tools don't fix unclear leadership. So you have to keep going back to your core. Make sure the core of your business is solid first. A great product, a clear mission statement, and a plan before doing anything else. The one moment where I had clarity as to what Masterplan was and what the future could be was when I was accepted into a small business cohort put on and supported by the city of LA. I'm gonna link them in the description box if you're in Los Angeles. I'm sure they have programs like this in every city, but Grid 110 was an accelerator program for early stage entrepreneurs, because my intention really was for Masterplan to blow up, and then therefore I could take a step back from being a content creator, and then also being the face of the company, and then the company would be able to run on its own. And that was my goal. And Grid 110 was a program to help people see their vision through. They gave me the help and advice that I needed and direction that I needed on the business side, and I was able to accomplish everything that they told me to do because I just needed someone to tell me what to do to help the core of my business become healthy. But once I graduated, not to say that I lost that connection, but once I graduated, that business partner I had in a program that I met with weekly just disappeared, and so did my know-how, apparently. The next thing I learned is passion can't replace structure. I still care deeply about Masterplan, but caring doesn't equate to consistency. Everything depended on me. and my energy and my time. And when you're already working full time on top of, your side hustle, your hobby, the grind is real. And if your business isn't making money, that means that you are going to spend more time on the 9 to 5 that makes money for you. And I tried to set up sustainable structures using tools, but as the theme of today is, if you do not have a solid grip on your business basics, everything else is useless. Passion might start a business, but structure is what keeps it alive. Staying too long trying to fight for a business that is clearly not working has a cost. Master Plan didn't fail overnight. I tried to revive Master Plan over and over and over again through website refreshes, through different marketing, releasing product after product after product. But it was too little too late, and it was the wrong things that I was concentrating on. I was basically just kicking the can down the road, waiting for me to finally give up. I delayed the ending because of the sunk costs, because I didn't want to admit to myself that I failed. But someone left a comment in one of my videos about Master Plan as I was kind of talking out my feelings about it. And I wish I could find the exact comment, but I will never forget it, because this person said, if you think about the end of Master Plan and you feel more relieved than you do sad, then maybe it's time to really consider closing it down. And when that person said that, that clicked immediately for me, because thinking about it, I did feel a sense of relief. The business became a burden. It became a burden emotionally, financially. And while I would have loved nothing more than continue to sell the products that people loved, it was time. Your intuition isn't just a feeling. This is very similar to the Houston house, right? Nothing was working, nothing was clicking. I was emotionally and financially exhausted all the time. And finally, when I decided to leave, I felt better. We still have the house, which will be another video, but I felt better. Intuition isn't fear, it's information. So keep that in your mind. And finally, the last thing I learned from a business that failed is the business didn't work. Yes, the business might have failed, but it was not a waste. Mistakes do not waste your time. They help you grow, they help you learn, and they teach you things about yourself that you would not have learned without them. As a business owner, I'm a shitty business owner, but I'm a good leader and I'm a good boss, and I have a good intuition about people. As a business owner, I am incapable of building a sustainable business model, but I have great ideas and I know how to execute them, and I listen to feedback and I don't take it personally, and I make good products because of it. All this to say that I won't ever not start another business, but not only now do I know what to expect, but I know what kind of business owner I am, and I need to find that other person or that other support to help balance out the idea portion of me with the business know-how that's needed to run a successful company. So those are the 10 things I learned from a failed business. I still very much love Master Plan. The idea that some people will no longer have their Master Plan planners every day makes me really sad. And I realized that after I was closing out my 2025 Master Plan, just thinking of not having this was really sad. But maybe as I'm growing, so can Master Plan. I have no intention of reviving the physical product, but maybe I can connect with other planner companies for them to sell the layout on their website. So the Master Plan layout can still live. People can still have the best and only comprehensive budget planner on the market, but I don't have to do all the heavy lifting. But again, all of our digital planners are still available. I have since closed down the website MSTRPLN.co, but everything is now on my newly revamped asiadang.com. So you'll always have access to these layouts. You'll always have access to, my financial videos that can help you with the budget layouts, but it's just in a different form now. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it helped you gain clarity or maybe even encouragement. This video was never meant to be something sad. It was just meant to be educational and for you to learn from my mistakes. I'm Asia Dang. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.